Have you ever watched a Korean parent handle a tantrum and thought, how are they so calm right now? Their child is red-faced, crying, overwhelmed, the full emotional hurricane, and the parent just stays steady, patient, almost peaceful. Meanwhile, your kid is having a meltdown because the blue cup isn't the right blue, and you're standing there wondering if you're raising a tiny lawyer who thrives on chaos. So what's the difference? Are Korean parents superhuman? Or do they just understand something about tantrums that the rest of us were never taught? Here's the truth. Korean parents aren't calmer because their kids never melt down. They're calmer because they respond differently. They don't try to stop the emotions. They don't argue with the feelings. They don't leap into fix it, fix it, fix it mode like the rest of us who are just trying to survive the cereal aisle. They use connection. They use presence. They use a cultural approach rooted in something called Jeong, a kind of warm, steady emotional closeness that helps a child borrow the adult's calm. And it works fast. Shockingly fast. Welcome to Parent Hackbook. Today, we're breaking down the Korean method that can calm a tantrum in 60 seconds, using techniques that shift your child from overwhelmed to grounded without yelling, bargaining, or losing your mind. Let's get started. Secret number 1. Why trying to fix tantrums makes them worse. If you've ever tried to reason with your child mid-meltdown, you already know how this goes. You say, "It's just a cup. It tastes the same. There's no reason to cry." And somehow, they cry louder, harder, as if you've personally betrayed their spirit and their ancestors. Here's the thing most of us were never taught. Tantrums aren't logical, they're not calculated. They're not your child being dramatic on purpose. A tantrum is literally your child's nervous system flooding. Their brain is overwhelmed, their emotions are in the driver's seat, and the logical part, the part that understands cups, sandwiches, and common sense, has completely left the building. So when we come in with logic, calm down. Use your words. Stop crying. It's not a big deal. Their brain can't even hear it. To them, it feels like pressure, like you're trying to shut down their feelings. Like the one person they need to anchor them is actually pushing them faster. That's why it gets louder. That's why they scream harder. That's why the meltdown stretches from 30 seconds to 10 minutes. And suddenly, you're both trapped in emotional quicksand. Western parenting taught us to fix, to control, to stop the noise as fast as possible. But here's what Korean families understand. When a child is overwhelmed, fixing feels like a threat, connection feels like safety. They don't jump in with stop. They don't try to shut it down. They don't match the child's volume with adult frustration. They focus on one thing, calming the nervous system first. Talking comes later. Logic comes later. Correction comes later. Because you can't teach a brain that's overwhelmed, you can only soothe it. This is why Korean parents often look so steady during meltdowns, not because their kids never lose it, but because they aren't trying to win a battle that biology has already decided. Instead of fighting the emotion, they're preparing to guide it. That's the first shift. And once you understand that you don't have to fix the tantrum, you just have to calm the storm, everything becomes easier. Secret number 2, the Korean idea of Jeong, emotional harmony over control. There's a word in Korean that doesn't translate neatly into English. And honestly, that's part of why most of us have never learned this approach. It's called Jeong, pronounced Jeong. And it's not discipline. It's not obedience. It's not be quiet or be good. Jeong is emotional closeness, warmth, presence, a kind of steady, patient connection that says, you're safe with me, even when you're falling apart. Think of it like an emotional anchor. When a child is overwhelmed, Jeong says, I'm here. I'm not scared of your feelings. You don't have to go through this alone. And when you look at Korean families, you see it everywhere. A grandmother sitting beside a crying toddler, not lecturing, just breathing. A parent placing a warm hand on a child's back, staying quiet, staying steady. A meltdown met with presence, not pressure. Jeong isn't about controlling your child's emotions. It's about sharing the moment with them so they don't drown in it. And here's the fascinating part. Children respond to Jeong faster than they respond to logic every single time. Why? Because Jeong speaks the language a tantrum understands. Safety, not stop. Not hurry up. not use your words, just safety. Their nervous system doesn't calm because you explained something. It calms because your body told their body, we're okay. This is where Korean parenting flips the script completely. In Western culture, we jump into problem-solving mode. We try to fix the feeling, stop the crying, end the noise. But Jeong isn't about ending anything. It's about joining, so the child doesn't crash alone. It's emotional co-pilot mode. Your calm becomes their calm. Your breathing becomes their breathing. Your presence becomes the thing that steadies the storm. And that's the entire foundation of the 60-second Korean method. Before we redirect, before we correct, before we talk, we connect. Because a child who feels held in their feelings doesn't have to fight them. And a child who doesn't have to fight their feelings doesn't need the tantrum to get bigger. This is the cultural secret behind what looks like magical calm. It's not magic. It's Jeong. Secret number 3, your calm becomes their calm. Co-regulation 101. Here's something nobody tells you when you become a parent. Your child doesn't calm themselves. They calm by borrowing your calm. Their nervous system isn't fully built yet. Their emotional brakes, still under construction. Their self-soothing skills, about as reliable as Wi-Fi in a basement. So when they're overwhelmed, their brain does something automatic. It scans your body for clues. Are you tense? Are you frustrated? Are you breathing fast? Is your jaw clenched like you're biting through invisible stress pasta? If your energy says, I'm panicking, their brain goes, oh, we're panicking? Great, let's panic harder. But if your body says, I'm right here, you're safe, we can handle this, their brain softens. The fear center starts to quiet. Their emotions have something steady to hold on to. This is called co-regulation, the process where a child's overwhelmed nervous system sinks to a calm, stable adult. And it's the entire reason the Korean method works so fast. Korean parents don't try to talk their child out of the meltdown. They don't try to override the feelings. They don't go into full TED Talk mode about why the sandwich still tastes the same. They regulate themselves first, because they know this simple truth. Kids can't hear your words until they feel your calm. And honestly, doesn't that explain so much? Why yelling never works. Why calm down makes things worse. Why trying to reason with a toddler is like arguing with a tiny emotional lawyer who hasn't slept in years. Their brain can't process logic, but it can process your nervous system. You are the emotional Wi-Fi they connect to. If your signal is stable, they stabilize. If your signal glitches, they glitch harder. The Korean approach isn't about ignoring the tantrum, it's about understanding what the tantrum needs. A calm system to attach to. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be zen. You don't have to float through your house like a monk in a parenting commercial. You just have to be one notch calmer than your child. That one notch is enough for their brain to find you. Because kids don't learn emotional regulation from lectures. They learn it from the adults they trust most. Which brings us to the part where this method becomes real, practical, and fast. How do you actually use this in the middle of a meltdown? That's where the 60-second Korean method begins. Secret number 4, the 60-second Jeong pause. Now that you understand why logic fails and why your calm matters more than your words, here's where the Korean method becomes something you can actually use. Right in the middle of a meltdown about the wrong cup, the wrong snack, or the wrong everything. It starts with something so simple, so gentle, so opposite of what your instincts tell you to do, that your brain will scream, this cannot possibly work. But it does, and it works fast. Korean parents have this quiet habit when a child melts down. They pause. Not the, I'm ignoring you, go cry over there, kind of pause. Not the silent, teeth-clenched, I swear if you don't stop screaming, pause. This is a Jeong pause, a full-body reset where you stop trying to stop the tantrum. You stop fixing, you stop correcting, you stop chasing the logic that isn't there. And instead, you drop your energy. You soften your body. You create a calm space around your child like a little emotional bubble. It's counterintuitive because everything inside you wants to rush to solve it, to talk, to calm them faster. But here's the secret. The moment you stop chasing the tantrum stops escalating. In Korea, parents aren't trying to win the moment, they're trying to ground it. The Jeong pause works because it tells your child's nervous system, without a single word, you're not in danger, you're not in trouble, you're not alone. I'm here with you. And that message lands deeper than any explanation ever will. Most tantrums don't drag on because kids want to scream. They drag on because the child feels alone inside their feelings. And the Jeong pause ends that isolation instantly. This 60-second method you're about to learn is built entirely on this idea. Before you guide the behavior, you regulate the emotion. No yelling, no reasoning, no stop that right now. Just connection first, correction later. And the wild part? Once you master this pause, the rest of the steps flow naturally. Your child softens sooner. You feel more in control, and the entire meltdown shifts from battle to moment. Ready for the practical part? The 5 steps begin now. Secret number 5. Step 1, lower your energy and your body. Here's where the Korean method actually begins, and it starts with a move so simple you'll think, there is no way this fixes a tantrum. But it does. In fact, this one shift is responsible for about 40% of the magic that happens next. The moment you see a meltdown forming, or even when you're already in the middle of it, you do 3 things at once. You take a slow breath, you drop your shoulders, and you lower your body to their level, not towering, not standing over them like the security guard of the living room, not pacing around in stressed parent mode, just down, eye level, calm, present. Because here's something your child's brain is wired to look for: your posture. When you stand tall, tense, or rushed, their brain reads danger, threat, I'm in trouble. But when you lower yourself, literally, you're sending an ancient biological signal. I'm not a threat, I'm with you. You're safe. In Korean households, this is instinctive. A child cries, the parent crouches, breathes, softens. It's like a quiet dance their nervous systems already know. Meanwhile, in Western homes, we tend to do the opposite. We stand up straighter, voices get sharper, shoulders get higher. We get bigger because we're trying to get control. But a child doesn't calm down when you get bigger. They calm down when you get closer. Let's put this in real life. Your child screams because you cut their toast wrong. Old response: what? It tastes the same. Stop yelling. New Korean style response: you crouch, you breathe. Your whole presence says, I'm right here. Before you've said a single word, their brain gets the message, no danger, I can slow down. This shift is so subtle, adults barely notice it, but kids feel it immediately. Their shoulders loosen, their breathing softens. Their eyes start actually seeing you, not the giant stressful blur you were 5 seconds ago. And that's the entire point of step 1. You're lowering the emotional temperature before you touch the behavior. You're not giving in. You're not letting them win. You're simply making sure the moment feels safe enough for them to move forward. This takes 10 seconds. That's it. 10 seconds of you saying with your body, I'm not fighting you. I'm supporting you. And those 10 seconds set the stage for everything that happens next. Secret number 6. Step 2, silent eye-level connection. Now that you've lowered your body and softened your energy, you move into the part that feels almost too simple. And yet this is where the Korean method really starts working. You don't speak. You don't correct. You don't immediately ask, what's wrong? You don't launch into a teaching moment. You just connect. Quietly, gently, without a single word. You stay at their level and you make soft, grounded eye contact, not the intense, look at me right now. Stare we do when we're frustrated. Just a calm, steady presence that says, I see you. I'm here. You're not alone. This moment of silence is powerful because it gives their overwhelmed brain space to breathe. Think of it like this. Your child is drowning in emotion. When you talk too soon, even kindly, it adds more waves. When you stay quiet, you give them a raft. This is something Korean parents do instinctively. A toddler is crying. The adult comes close, lowers themselves, places a hand near them, not on them yet, and just waits. Breathing. Present. Unrushed. Why? Because your child is watching your face more than your words. If you look frustrated, their brain spikes. If you look calm, their brain softens. If you look like you're about to lecture, they prepare for battle. But if you look like a safe place, they begin to settle, even if the tears are still flowing. Here's what this looks like in real life. Your child is screaming because you poured the drink too fast. In old parenting mode, you might talk over the crying. "Sweetheart, it's fine. You're fine. Stop crying. It's not a big deal." But in this Korean method, you stay silent for just a few seconds. Not disconnected silence. Not "I'm ignoring you." Silence. But connected silence. You breathe slowly. Your face stays soft. Your eyebrows stay neutral. Not the angry V shape we accidentally make. Your eyes stay kind and steady. And something subtle happens. Their breathing starts copying yours. Their shoulders drop. Their fists unclench. Their cries shift from frantic to manageable. All without you saying a thing. This silence is not inaction. It's not doing nothing. It's doing the exact thing their nervous system needs. Space to not be judged. Space to not be hurried. Space to not be overwhelmed by more words. Just a few seconds, 3 to 5, is enough to start rewiring the moment. This is the pause that tells their brain, you're safe enough to feel this. And once they feel safe, they're ready for the next step. Which brings us to the moment where the magic starts showing on their face. Gentle, grounding contact. Secret number 7. Step 3. Gentle, grounding touch. Now that you're calm, and now that you've met their eyes without words, you add the next piece. The one that quietly flips the whole meltdown. A gentle, grounding touch. Not grabbing, not holding them still, not hugging them too soon. Just a soft, steady point of contact that says, I'm with you. I'm not going anywhere. You're safe. This might be a light hand on their back, a palm resting on their shoulder, a gentle hold of their hand, or even just placing your hand near them if they're not ready for touch yet. Because here's the truth. Some kids melt into this instantly, some take a moment, and some don't want to be touched when they're overwhelmed. All 3 responses are normal. You don't force it, you just offer presence. In Korean families, this soft contact is instinctual. A child cries, and the adult places a warm hand between their shoulder blades, not to stop the crying, but to steady the child's entire nervous system. And that's exactly what this step does, because touch is primal. Touch is safety. Touch is, you're not facing this storm alone. Neurologically, the moment you touch them gently, their brain receives a message far more powerful than anything you could say out loud. This emotion won't break you. I'm here. We can ride it together. This is the point where most tantrums begin to shift. Their breathing softens. Their body leans in, sometimes without them even realizing it. Their cries lose that frantic, sharp edge and turn into something quieter, something closer to release than panic. Here's what this looks like in real life. Your child is screaming because the sandwich is cut wrong. Old parenting mode? Stop crying. It tastes the same. Look, it's literally the same sandwich. Cue louder, screaming. Korean style response, you crouch, step 1. You stay silent, step 2. And then you place your hand gently on their back. No lecture, no explanation, just steady presence. You'd be shocked how often kids stop fighting the moment they feel that grounding touch. It's like their body suddenly remembers, oh right, they're here. I'm safe. And safety always softens intensity. This step usually takes about 10 to 15 seconds, and in most cases, you'll physically feel their body releasing tension, like someone slowly letting air out of a balloon. It's not the end of the tantrum yet, but it's the turning point, because now their brain is ready. Not for discipline, not for redirection, but for understanding that's exactly what comes next. Secret number 8. Step 4. Name the feeling, not the behavior. Now that your child's body has softened, even just a little, you're finally ready for the first words you say. And this part is important, because most parents jump straight into teaching mode. You don't need to cry about this. It's not a big deal. You can't act like that. Use your words. But here's the thing. When a child is overwhelmed, teaching feels like pressure. Explanation feels like dismissal, and correction feels like rejection. What they actually need is to feel understood, not managed. So step 4 is simple. You name the feeling, not the behavior, not the logic, not the lesson. Just the feeling. You're really upset right now. You wanted the sandwich whole, and it's cut. That's frustrating. You didn't want the blue cup. That feels disappointing. Your toy broke, and that made you sad. Short, gentle, clear, no judgment, no lecture hidden inside the sentence. Because here's the psychology behind this. A child can't calm down until they feel seen. Once they feel seen, the nervous system relaxes. Their body stops bracing for correction. Their brain stops fighting to defend the emotion. The need to scream starts fading because the emotion has finally been acknowledged. And here's the part nobody warns you about. Naming the feeling might actually make them cry harder for a moment. But that's not escalation. That's release. That's their nervous system going, "Oh, I'm safe to feel this. I don't have to fight anymore." Sometimes the crying deepens for 3 to 5 seconds and then suddenly softens because their body is letting the emotion move through instead of clamping down on it. Here's a real-life moment. They're crying over a broken toy. You've already crouched down, breathed, connected, and touched their back. Then you say softly, "The toy broke," and you're really sad about that. And then it happens. That shift, their face relaxes. Their breathing slows. The crying changes from explosive to wobbly, manageable, human. They're not acting out anymore. They're processing. This step is so important because it teaches them something bigger than the moment. Feelings aren't dangerous. Feelings aren't wrong, and feelings don't push you away. And because their feelings don't have to fight for space, the tantrum stops needing to get bigger. It's not about agreeing with their reaction. It's about acknowledging their experience. You're not saying, "It is a tragedy that the sandwich is cut wrong." You're saying, "I see the emotion this caused." And for a child, that's the difference between escalation and calm. This step takes 10 to 15 seconds, and when you do it consistently, something incredible starts happening. Your child learns to identify their own emotions faster and express them with far less intensity because you've shown them how. And now comes the final step, the one that brings you both gently back into the moment. Secret number 9, step 5, breathe together. This is the final step of the 60-second Korean method. And it's the moment when the whole meltdown shifts from chaos to connection. Once you've named the feeling and your child knows you understand them, really understand them, you guide them gently into the next moment, but not with commands, not with "stop crying" or "calm down now," not with "use your words" or "take a breath." In that panicked parent voice we all know too well, you invite them. "Let's take a breath together. I'm right here. We'll figure this out when you're ready." Not a demand, not pressure. A soft doorway out of the overwhelm. Because here's the truth. If your child could choose calm in that moment, they would. But their brain is overloaded. Their system is flooded. They don't know how to get out of the emotion. So you show them. Your breath becomes the rope they grab onto. And something beautiful happens here. Their breathing starts matching yours. Their shoulders settle. Their face softens. Their body leans into you or melts onto your lap. Because now their nervous system has switched from threat mode into connection mode. Here's what this looks like in real life. Your child is still teary, still hiccuping a bit, still in the feelings, but they're no longer fighting. You're both breathing slowly. You're still close. You say something soft like, "When you're ready, we'll fix it together." Or, "We can handle this." Your presence becomes the solution. Not the words, not the logic, not the explanation. It's the opposite of isolation. It's the opposite of "go to your room until you calm down." It's the opposite of the shame-based strategies most of us grew up with. You're teaching them. Big feelings don't mean you're alone. We don't hide emotions here. You're safe with me even when you're not okay. And this matters more than most parents ever realize, because a child who learns to breathe through feelings with you becomes the child who can breathe through feelings on their own. They're not learning obedience. They're learning regulation, real, deep, emotional intelligence. The kind adults spend years trying to relearn. This step usually takes 5 to 10 seconds. And at this point, the meltdown has already transformed. It's no longer frantic. It's no longer explosive. It's no longer a battle. It's just a small human coming back online. And that's the moment when they're finally able to talk, to hear you, to understand what happened, and to move forward. The tantrum hasn't just ended, they've learned something. And so have you.